Welcome back to the Web3 Insights, where we bring you the innovators shaping the decentralized world. Today, I'm joined by Roy Mayer, who is the founder and CEO of Vixichain, to discuss how Vixichain is creating a bridge between traditional finance and blockchain technology, from their testnet launch to their innovative bankers validators model and the upcoming NUSD stable token-backed NFT. Vixichain is making blockchain accessible for real-world applications. We're going to explore their journey toward their mainnet launch and how they're creating lasting impact in financial services for everyday life. So let's dive in. Roy, pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much.
First of all, Aaron, thank you very much for this intro and bringing this podcast to life. Would like to tell everyone that listening to us right now that this podcast is basically going to bring an impact of what we're doing at Vixichain and how we're bringing basically the peace between traditional finance and decentralized finance. This piece is, I think it's mandatory when it comes to Web3. Very excited to be here and happy Friday to our listeners.
Happy Friday indeed. Roy, can you start by sharing your journey into blockchain? You know, what inspired you to launch Vixichain? What's the core mission driving Vixichain's development?
I think because most of our listeners, I assume, will not know me yet. So I think it's good to begin, first of all, about what I did in fintech and banking at the beginning. Because to discuss about decentralized finance and traditional finance, first of all, you need to know what is traditional finance and how you are getting. First of all, my name is Roy Mayer. As you mentioned, I am born and raised in Tel Aviv, partnered in life with Melissa. I studied business administration in the IDC, private university in Israel. Doing fintech banking activities for almost 14 years, with 11 years in crypto specifically. Taking us back to 2012, started with several of my friends that came to me and just spoke about an inquiry that they had. Just a small inquiry that contains basically the introduction to bank's award for trading activity. Spoke to them, told them, yes, I have, of course that I have. But to be honest, in that moment, I didn't have any clue how I'm getting basically the contact that they wanted. Spoke to other friends that I have, any contact that I have, and reached basically to this contact. 2 years afterwards, I had a consultancy firm basically that contains various of networks with banks, internet banking, accountants, lawyers, and etc. to build basically structures and to provide solutions, payment solutions and other solutions in the fintech industry. So I learned a lot from the ground of how basically we're building structure and how we're getting to solutions, payment solutions in the industry, various industries across the fintech. If I'm getting to 2 years afterwards, in 2014, I started my journey in crypto. Basically, it was
Nice.
one night that I sat and looked in blockchain.org. I'm not sure that today is showing what I saw back then, but back then it was two exchanges, one called BTCE, that thanks God they are not with us today, and the second one is Bitstamp. It's a Slovenian exchange that exists as of today. And I saw the price of BTC against USD. We did not have this USDT or USDC back then. It was around $450 BTC. Saw the gap between the exchanges. One showed 420, one showed 428, around 429. Looked at the screen and did not understand how I have this gap, because it's the same pairs. We have around 1.5% to 2% gap between two exchanges for the same pair. Did the screenshot, entered to basically the exchanges manually, and saw it in my own eyes. I saw the gap, pure arbitrage in the market, something that I did not know basically what to do with. The only thing that I did is took my card, I purchased BTC through one of the sites that I saw in Google, and took the BTC, deposited it to the exchanges, and tried by myself how I'm basically profiting from this gap that I have in the market. To be honest,
Awesome.
It was good. Got it. We got this arbitrage, and the rest is history. It's basically we developed an algorithmic trading through a trading bot. I visited the offices back then of OKCoin, BTC China, and Hobby. Were back then like several rooms in Beijing. Something that today it's it's not normal even to speak about companies that they have around 5 to 10,000 employees around the globe with tens of licenses. And this is basically the beginning of the journey. Afterwards, it was OTC and payment solutions combined. So from the bottom of trading to payment solutions combined with crypto and fiat, this is what I touched in the last, I would say, 11 years until basically we started the Vixi Group.
Amazing. Great journey, for sure. For listeners new to Vixichain, can you give us an overview of what the project is and how you're positioning yourself, as a bridge between traditional finance and blockchain as well?
So first of all, we need to understand what Vixichain is trying to do. So in the definition, Vixichain is a decentralized, compliant, on-chain payment trail. When I'm saying on-chain, means for our listeners, blockchain, using a blockchain technology. It's allowing users to transfer and use digital assets designed for the day-to-day financial needs. A variety of use cases that we're using as of today. The first use case that we are using today is the traditional recognition of decentralized platform. Before I'm touching of how basically it works and what exactly we are doing in Vixichain when it comes to this specific use case, we need to understand the issue. What is the issue in the market? So if I'm going back, so the issue we had previously, it was we did not have enough payment methods and possibilities to buy BTC. I don't know, Aaron, if you remember, but I'm sure that all of our listeners remember the time that we couldn't even buy BTC. It wasn't even impossible. We just entered to the site, tried to figure out how we're doing it. All the exchanges spoke because they did not have any bank account or recognition of traditional finance. They just throw them out of the door. So we couldn't find a way. So yes, it's traded BTC against Dogecoin or XRP back then. It was from my time, it was around 0.0001 cents per token. Today we know the markets and the values, and we didn't have the possibility even to purchase cryptocurrencies. Today we have the possibility, but still we are facing problem. What is the major problem today? So we have today two spaces that cannot get along. The first one is the decentralized self-custody model that presented by Bitcoin in 2009, that basically saying we are decentralized, doesn't matter the consensus right now, but we're a decentralized blockchain network to audit transaction between two peers, right? Aaron and me. I'm sending you, you're sending me. There's no intermediary. We're sending money. The money audited inside the blockchain, and that's it basically. I got right now the BTCs, you got the BTCs, and the deal is over. The problem is that no one knows about it. I did not declare about the source of funds. I did not put my KYC. I did not put nothing. As of today, as we know, 400 million users around the globe using, for example, Trust Wallet, a decentralized application, decentralized wallet that connected to EVMs, and they did not declare about any KYC. They did not declare about a source of funds. They are actually using the blockchain directly through the UI UX of Trust Wallet. But basically, we don't have any information about what they are doing and how they are doing. Now, if, for example, we'll imagine a world that everyone are okay and they are doing very good businesses and everything is, I will say for my words, completely clean. So everything will be okay, but we cannot rely on it. And we both know that today, to think that all the people are using crypto for just a very, very legal needs, it's to live in a bit a dream. So we are facing difficulties. On the one hand, we're telling to our users inside the bank, let's strengthen the compliance, bring me more information, bring me more materials, send me documentation, send me source of funds declarations in order to move money out or get the money in. On the other end, we are saying to 400 million users of Trust Wallet, go to the Trust Wallet, open an account, move $1 million right now out to someone without the necessary to declare about even one document inside. Now, this default is basically problematic. First of all, from the compliance side, right? That we are basically don't know nothing about this transaction, and I can go to ML activities, counterterrorism, any washing money that we don't want in our space. And in addition, there is another thing that we need to discuss about the frustration of traditional financial users. For example, if I'm in the banking sector right now and I need to declare on any transaction out or in, doesn't matter what is the amount, in order the bank to be completely pleased to get my funds into my account. And I'm seeing my friends that dealing with trust account and is moving money right now in the blockchain without the necessary of doing any declaration, without any limits. So I can get to a frustration, and this frustration can lead me and the banks to lose me, and I will get to the crypto space, to the decentralized self-custody space. And in recent, I will say, case studies and surveys that have been taken in the crypto industry and users, 74% of the crypto users declare that they prefer self-custody and a decentralized world than the traditional finance world. Now, it's very nice, but on the other hand, it's very dangerous. And we need to address the understanding what we are doing and how we are getting along, because we both know traditional finance and decentralized finance are nice. They need to get along. They cannot live separately, and no one of them going to disappear.
Exactly. No, I completely agree. You know, they both need to come together to work in harmony. But let's talk about the upcoming testnet launch in February and the Devnet that's already live. What are the key features developers and users can expect from these networks? How are they preparing for the mainnet launch in April?
So regarding,
I hope I got those dates right.
Regarding the Devnet, first of all, I will say that today, by the end of the day, we will upload our new website to be live. Yes, it contains basically, we worked hard on it. It contains basically everything in place from our new and designed white paper version 1.2 that contains basically the full story from A to Z. It contains also presentations and announcements, new ones that we're going to bring when the website will be live. Contains also part of our board of advisory that we started to establish in the last 3 to 4 months. And it contains also, as you mentioned, the Devnet access, the early access to our community and users. Now, in our blockchain, first of all, it's very important to understand that we're involving basically, I would say, two major players inside that needs to live together. Like we're saying that traditional finance and decentralized finance needs to come along. So we brought it to the reality through the blockchain. What does it mean? First of all, the users, whether it's entities or individuals, we have tailor-made solutions and use cases that serving them, both of the client segments. And on the other hand, our blockchain cannot live without financial institutions and licensed banks that are becoming banks as validators. We are calling it a BAV, that basically signing, recording, and validating any transaction on chain. And the meaning is that users that are doing a P2P or any other use case that we'll discuss afterwards, basically will be signed by banks, okay? Through their selection, they are the ones that holding the funds through a decentralized platform, and they are the ones that deciding through a selection which bank they want to exit with or get signed with. And this is important because the selection is up to the users, and the banks are offering services. Now, one service can be validation, the second one can be financial services afterwards. When it comes to the Devnet, as I mentioned, Devnet is live. We finished the Devnet, as you know, but it's going to be live for the general crowd from today, by the end of the day. So it's very nice that we're speaking right now in this podcast and can actually deliver one of the most exciting and important events that we have. The Devnet is basically going to be live, and people can open wallets through our blockchain and wallet infrastructure that we're presenting. The wallet, of course, is going to be in test environments. It's not going to be in production. Production will be in mainnet, as you know. But it's a very, very cool idea to show, first of all, seriousness and progress to the crowd. We both know that the crypto industry, sometimes we're declaring a very, very nice ideas, but at the end, in the reality, not too much is happening, right? So we want to see that things are happening. Things are actually moving forward. And from the Devnet to mainnet, people can basically see what is actually going through our wallet, opening a wallet, doing test transaction, deciding which BAV as a test environment will sign their transaction, and to see the statement of an actual transaction that posted within our blockchain. So it's very exciting, and the first milestone through the 3 milestones that we have: the DevNet, Testnet, and then afterwards the mainnet.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely exciting, and an exciting year ahead for you guys. You're introducing the NUSD stable token backed NFT, bit of a mouthful. How does this work? What are what impact could it have on the adoption within traditional finance and Web3 ecosystems?
So when it comes to NUSD, again, we need to understand the problem that led us actually to do NUSD, because at the end, we have the USDC of a banking circle, or the USDT of Tether. So come on, we have very nice projects out there.
Yeah.
Have a market cap of billions of dollars. So why we need an NUSD, right? So this is the major question. So let's first of all understand what we have as of today and compare to our NUSD. So first of all, the NFTs, the non-fungible stable token that we're presenting with the first series of NUSD, is basically a smart contract within Vixichain layer 1 blockchain, and will be deployed basically in Q3 2025, around 4 months after our mainnet launch. And the idea behind the NFTs is to use the uniqueness of the NFT technology in order to create a digital segregated ownership on a physical asset, because this is the idea of NFT at the end within the technology. I know that people associating NFT with monkeys or with art, and it's very nice, but at the end, an NFT, it's a technology before everything. And the technology specifically needs to touch about digital ownership on a physical asset. We took it to the money side, right? So the money side is basically to create an NUSD, a stable token patched 1-to-1 to USD, but segregated, not aggregated, meaning that any NUSD that we're minting for fiat money that in the trust account is basically using unique serial number that's attached to it. So you as a user, Aaron, you know that this specific NUSD is your money. It's not part of the pool. You don't care about, for example, ML or any problems that will be within reserves or problematic source of funds of other people in this general EVM compatible, I would say, smart contract of like USDT, for example. You have a segregated ownership of money, and segregated ownership of money, meaning that also the banks eventually can get those NUSD, because they know that the source of fund is clean, the uniqueness and serial number is related to a specific user, and it's not something that can live in a self-custody, and we don't really know what happened with this money. This is the idea.
Yeah, amazing. So also as well, the bankers validators is one of your unique approaches, involving banks as transaction validators. Can you explain how this model works? Why is it significant, and how is it creating trust as well for traditional finance institutions?
Of course. Again, going back to traditional finance and decentralized finance, so we know that commercial banks are basically the representatives of the central bank, right? This is the idea. So the central bank cannot provide you with services directly, because they don't have right now the operations, I will say, efforts to issue to everyone IBAN and accounts, and to serve everyone when it comes to support. So they put the commercial banks, licensed commercial banks basically, and said to them, you are integrated with me and you are serving the clients. And then we're getting to a point that we have basically competitors in the market for similar services. And we are the users are basically getting services from various of banking institutions. Now, this is the idea in traditional finance.
Yeah.
We need to understand that the blockchain as a network, when it comes to opening a wallet, is basically more or less the same idea, right? We have validators. As of today, they are not banks, but we have validators that validating transactions within the block. And in addition, the blockchain is bringing us with wallets that are similar to accounts. So I know that we're speaking Web3, but at the end, the idea came from somewhere. It came from there, right?
Yeah.
From the traditional finance. Now, what we thought is to say, if we want to bring the people with the idea of a self-custody in a decentralized platform, we need to get the recognition of the traditional finance in order to get to a point that that decentralized users can get their money move around the economy without the fear that it will not be accepted somehow because of, as I mentioned, compliance or ML or whatever. So
Yeah.
what we said is, let's bring the banks, not for a classic custody, because again, the movement is to be decentralized and self-custody, and we are well aware of it. We said, let's get them involved in the same structure. Vixichain is basically the central bank, let's call it this way, or this manner, okay? The banks are entering as validators, are basically the one that's signing the transaction and the representative of the network. The same
Smart.
idea, the same logic, that banks are basically signing transaction no matter what is the use case. They are the one, through a compliance rule engine, signing transactions around Vixichain blockchain. And this is very important to understand, that without banks as validators, there is no Vixichain, right? This is combined together, and the efforts are moving together with the banks that we're speaking right now to be onboarded, and this is how the model works.
Amazing stuff. It's clear to see that, your goal is to create real world use cases for blockchain. Can you share some examples of how your solutions will impact everyday life, from payments to financial access?
Yes, indeed, of course. So the main vision that we have is basically to create a borderless financial economy where users can manage their life in crypto, in self-custody, DeFi structure, and connect with traditional finance, for validation or other financial services globally without limitation. So this is first of all the vision. So I'm in DeFi, self-custody, and whenever I need to do something, I'm going to the wallet, for example, and getting any financial service or validation through the banking partners that are inside. So first of all, this is what we need to understand. So with this vision and what we said about the bank as validators, we are basically providing use cases that fulfilling exactly with the vision that we created. First of all, in the mainnet, we will proceed with the first traditional finance recognition of decentralized finance. So the meaning is that you have a P2P transaction between two sides, the same logic that we both know, and you are selecting BAV out of the list according to compliance parameter that the BAV design inside is BAV panel that we are creating to them, while the users basically will see just the BAVs that appearing according to the criteria that he designed, right? So it's a mutual interest here. The banks are basically getting the deals and the clients that they want, and the client basically selecting the banks according to a selection list that we're providing with a different pricing list or different countries, repetition, and etc. It lets the users to select and the banks to participate in what they want to. Now, this is the first one. It's allowing the clients to get the recognition for their tokens, right? The tokenized money from the bank. So this is the first thing and the first layer that we would like to establish to get those two industries to interact with each other. This is the first one. In the second use case, we are going to offer also financial services. What are the financial services? So we got the recognition, we get them along, and right now we need to find the patch to let the users to use basically Vixichain for the day-to-day use. And the day-to-day use is basically, let's go to the supermarket tomorrow morning and buy with Vixichain wallet to Vixichain blockchain right now a cup of milk. Okay, so how we are doing it basically, there are two use cases. The one is to connect a virtual debit card on chain, okay, on Vixichain, okay, network. We are connecting a virtual card that are connected directly to your assets inside Vixichain wallet, and then you can go to any store, contactless pay in any product that we want. Now, this is one. The second one is to say, let's do an on-ramp to off-ramp solution. If we have the banks, right? If we have the tokens, if we have the source of funds, if we have everything in place with a good intention from both sides that understand that we have a safe economy, let's get the tokens. And whenever we need to get out to fiat, we will have the possibility through the same mechanism to get out to fiat. Now, why it's important? Because I will live my life in crypto, self-custody, and I will select through any occasion the bank that I want to exit with according to each use case. It will let me the freedom of money with the selection per use case or per situation that I will be to exit with fiat or exit in crypto. It's up to me according to the situation that I have.
Okay, great. So looking ahead then, what are the major milestones for Vixichain this year? Including the ICO in April and your participation in events like Token 2049 and the Digital Asset Conference next week, which I believe you're attending as well, which we sort of discussed before the call. How do these sort of steps contribute to your growth?
Okay, so we need to divide basically this question into two, because we have two pillars that we're looking in. The first one is basically the BAV, the recognition of commercial banks, the recognition of national banks. We said that we cannot live without them. So we are aiming, first of all, to see how we are getting them to understand that self-custody is the tomorrow, and they need to wake up now. They need to do it now, not tomorrow, now. So when it comes to the long term, first of all, we need to bring the bank in order to show the POC, the proof of concept. So when it comes to April, the mainnet, we will have, first of all, three BAVs onboarded. We're expecting to have around 200,000 clients in mainnet, both individuals and entities. And basically, it will lead us to get to a marketplace of BAVs in the one hand and clients in the other end. For I would say the events that we're participating, such as DAF, Digital Assets Forum, that we will participate on Monday in London, or when it comes to a Consensus or Kong or any other event, this is exactly serving what we're trying to achieve. It's serving the way to come out, speak with the banks, speak with national authorities to see how they can actually leverage our technology ahead. This is basically what we're doing now and putting our efforts. If I'm looking inside our roadmap, so Devnet will release on time, like we mentioned. Testnet is going to be on February, exactly like we mentioned at the beginning. In this testnet, people basically can not just open a wallet for test, they can also do things like reviewing, explore, bridge assets from EVM into Vixichain and other capabilities such as applications in iOS and Android to better see how they are participating and experiencing Vixichain network and wallets. So after we are issuing the testnet, we'll be able also, Aaron, to onboard the banks, because we will have the BAV panel, so they can play with the compliance rule engine to set rules, to set the preferences, and basically to start to navigate the system from their hand. So testnet will lead us basically to, I would say, 90% of the scope with BAVs and clients in place. When it comes to mainnet on April, the first use case, as I mentioned, will be deployed. Explore fully, that is an Explorer that combines encryption data of just wallet owner can see all the data, while the public can see just several minimal data inside. So we can just not arguing if funds arrived to the destination or did not arrive. We have an independent source to review if X transaction status arrived or rejected or any other status. So this is basically the idea. We are going to release the testnet afterwards mainnet, and after mainnet, we're just starting the journey of bringing those use cases into life. So you, me, and others can basically use Vixichain for the day-to-day use.
Awesome. I'm pretty pumped for you guys for this year. There's a lot of cool stuff happening, and yeah, I'm excited to follow the journey for sure. Just to finish up very quickly, then, Roy, what's your vision for Vixichain over the next 5 years? For example, how do you see it transforming financial services and Web3 adoption globally?
I think, Aaron, that we are on the road already for the tokenization side. Right. This is basically the movement that we're doing right now in the traditional finance. I'm speaking with national banks. I'm speaking with commercial banks, and they are all excited of real world assets, RWA, tokenization, and the tokenization of money. This is what they're trying to do. But I think that we're missing the points. As I mentioned, the movement of the users, we can put many regulations, but at the end, if the users wants to find their path to a self-custody and decentralization, they will do so. Okay, so we can do whatever we want. So in the next 5 years, according to this statement, I will say that we are going to decentralize self-custody movement. That will just increase in time. Financial services will need to integrate to the decentralized and self-custody world. And about Vixichain, I'm seeing after the POC and more banks that will join forces and will participate in our BAV and financial services model. I think that the road to governmental adoption will be fast. This is what I believe. I'm in touch already. This is part of the announcement that we will have very soon. Touch already with several national banks to see how basically we can get to a road that we are showing POC, technology, security, banking, commercial wise, and then afterwards getting to a point that we're collaborating with the national banks ahead. So if you're looking 5 years ahead, I will say that every day that we are losing, not using blockchain capability as our main payment trail, it's a shame. It's a shame not for the users. It's a shame, first of all, for the regulators and the commercial banks, and we need to understand it. Because the blockchain giving us endless possibilities in borderless, safe, security, and cost-effective. So we need to do so. How we're doing so, I think that Vixichain provide exactly the path of integrating both worlds and progressing and scaling ahead. So in 5 years, we will all be in a position that we're using Web3 wallets, self-custody, gaining financial services from different vendors and banks around the world. Hopefully. Without borders, that we can actually use in our day-to-day life. And I think that this is what the users want. This is what users want. And eventually, I will say, Aaron, this is what the banks will want, because they will have their share, they will participate, and they can lead this revolution together with the users. Not in a conflict.
No, absolutely. A nice way to round it up. Thanks so much, Roy, for sharing the incredible journey and innovations behind Vixichain. Appreciate it. As I said to you, it's exciting to see your team bridging traditional finance with blockchain technology and making a tangible impact in the real world. As I think it's definitely very much needed. For our listeners, to learn more about Vixichain, do check out their website and their white paper. And stay updated via their social medias. As always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Web3 Insights for more conversations with leaders driving the decentralized revolution. Thank you so much once again for tuning in. And
Aaron, thank you very much.
See you next time. Thank you, Roy. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Aaron. Thank you for the listeners. Thank you very much, Aaron.
Cheers.